What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on #confirmed, we're going to be jumping into Devstream 109 with some really juicy news for this upcoming week, and some other things that we'll be seeing down the line. Regardless, let's jump on in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start out with some of these smaller items that we got little glimpses of, then we'll move on to some of the bigger, juicier things. So start things off, we've got the Vauban Deluxe concept art, but now they're actually showing the weapon that goes along with it, which is a jet-powered hammer. Now, we've already got a deluxe hammer before, but this one looks pretty sick. Somebody did ask, however, in the questions when we would be seeing Ninja Deluxe and Vauban Deluxe. There are no hard dates on these things. They're just going to be released throughout the year, so don't, be patiently waiting, like holding your breath on it. They're coming. They're just not coming, super soon. Moving down the line, they did actually show off the next round of Tennogen, which I am very excited about. I did see some cool skins for Loki. I saw some things from, Hitsu-san, which I'm really excited about. Some cool Saiyan Donners are coming out. Even the Mesa skin looks pretty gosh darn good. I'm going to play around with that a little bit. Regardless, it will be announced very soon, and I think if I can get you a link for it, I'll put it in the description box below so you can see all of the things that have actually been accepted and will be released eventually. Most likely not next week, but eventually. Alright, moving down the line, we've got the Hydroid Prime trailer. They did say that they are making progress on that. Pretty much everything is done. I think they have some issues with ballast that they need to do some, I don't know if it's lines that they need to do or voice recordings, but it's coming. They're moving. Another interesting thing that they actually chatted about was the fact that some people had been asking for transference, and we talked about it ages ago, ooh, we would love to see operators being able to transfer into things aside from their Warframes, and there have been experiments going on with this kind of in the background, but as it stands, they haven't found anything that they're super happy with. They said that there's going to be a lot of work from the animators to go in and do things like that, and that at this moment in time, it's not there. But they're playing, so just keep that in mind in the background that, they're toying around with stuff, and DE, if they find a good use for it, if they find something good, they'll go ahead and jump in and toss it in game at some point. Next thing up on the list, another odd thing that I was not expecting. DE actually went ahead and showed us a couple of AVs that you would be able to drive around in the upcoming Venus expansion? Well, Venus landscape, that's what we'll call it. So they actually went ahead and gave this a shot. They said that there would be available in Venus, and that Venus, the cool thing about it, they were actually talking about there's going to be a lot of terrain height and variation in there, so they're working on roads, they're working on a bunch of things for Venus, and this was kind of our first glimpse into it. They didn't show us Venus clearly because, it's not ready yet, but this is one of those things that we can expect to see in the future, and I think it's really interesting. I don't know how much, I'm gonna be into it, but we'll find out, because, as long as we still got arc wings, at least I can just zip around freely in space, but you never know, there might be some sort of mechanic. As you guys know, there's a storm mechanic or something that goes along in there, and maybe these vehicles will prevent us from freezing over. Something along those lines. I have no clue. Hold on one quick second. Yes, this is Future Rob, and I am Kanye Westing this goddamn thing for a second. That Twitter message that I actually got was Sheldon reminding me about the MOAs. I forgot that we actually were going to talk about the pet MOAs, so I'm just inserting this right here. They actually showed off 3 work-in-progress models, one with a top hat. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but they are making progress on that, and they didn't specifically say when it would release. They were talking about working out Pet 2.0 and all of that kind of stuff. So Lord knows when, but I do have a sinking feeling that it is going to be coming with the Corpus landscape on Venus. That's just my assumption. It's not anything official that they have told us, but I just feel like it goes hand in hand. Moa Pets, Venus, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and send this back to Past Rob. Boop! Now, moving on to the big things that they are working on releasing next year, we have Sanctuary Onslaught. And the cool thing that I think that this is all showing off is Sanctuary Onslaught actually incorporates, oh god, what is Samaris? And I was like, okay, we got a lore tidbit there. Interesting. And it also incorporates Khora. Khora is actually going to be one of the rewards from Onslaught. So I'm like, okay, Samaris and Khora lore. I'm like, okay, I'm into this. This is going to be really, really interesting. But they did make note of a couple things, which I was very, very fond of. Number one, it is going to have a casual mode and a hardcore node. So, you know, if you just want to kind of play through it and it's not going to be super stressful and you just want to have some fun, they do have the casual mode in there for you. However, for people who, you know, may have dumped a bunch of format into their Warframe and have like super overformed weapons and have all maxed out everything with arcanes and kavats and stuff like that, sometimes you want a little bit more of a challenge, and they have hardcore mode, which will let us jump straight on into that. I'm curious about what the levels are going to seem like, because we do have to understand that the starting level is a starting level and it's going to escalate. So we'll find out what happens from there, and you never know, they might incorporate different challenges into the hardcore node. Really, really interested to see that. They did make a note for focus gain, because apparently there's going to be several different kinds of rewards in here. So we have the Khora reward, and then we've got focus multipliers. So, you know, as you guys go in, you go through a portal. The first 45 seconds that you're in that mode, you're actually going to have like a focus booster, basically. As you go through each portal, that 45 will be refreshed again, and then each node will grant a larger bonus. So as you go deeper and deeper and deeper into it, you're going to be getting more and more and more focus. So that's really, really cool. And the, what do you call this? As you go into the harder reward, as you go into the harder hardcore modes, listen, grammar is out the window. But literally, as you go into the hardcore modes, you're going to get even higher multipliers in there. So if you're looking to farm focus a different way, this is definitely going to be something for you. Of course, it does not address those players who have already maxed out all of their focus DE, so when you go and give us some shit for that, just saying. Moving along before I get too spicy. They did also mention peculiar rewards. Now, this is something that they have addressed ages ago in an old, I guess, panel. And they were talking about rewards that were not necessarily going to be great mods, but they would add some flavor. And the really cool thing about this is they've got, it's really, really odd. So let me go ahead and give you examples of these mods. One of them is, I think, called like Coyote or something. And upon impact proc, it causes the enemy to see stars. And we didn't get any footage of this on stream because I guess they were, you know, trying to get it work. But there's literally like supposed to be like animations of stars circling their heads, kind of like in the old Wile E. Coyote. Oh my god, not Speed Racer. What's the bird that speeds really, really fast? You know, the bird that speeds really fast in Wile E. Coyote. With the anvils and Acme, you know what I'm talking about. And then another example is flower power. So upon crit, it actually blossoms a flower from the enemy. And here's the thing. That's all that these mods do. There is no additional fire rate. There is no additional critical chance. There's no additional base damage. Nothing. These mods are legitimately just made for, I guess you would say, taunting the enemies, shaming the enemies, like all of that kind of stuff. It's just visual stuff that is used to kind of like throw salt in the wound. And I think that it's a really, really interesting concept, and I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I'm like, nah, not going to use those. But as I was watching them play with it, I was like, I do kind of see the draw. I do kind of see some very interesting moments in there. And I think it would be fun, because I think the big point in this is, since these are mods found in challenge modes, these are kind of a way to show people, yeah, I don't need every single mod on my weapon to be bomb as hell. I can replace one of those mods and still go on a massacre and killing streak. So, I mean, it would be kind of really one of those salt in the wound moments where legitimately you're killing enemies and you're covering them with flowers, and at the end of the mission stream you still did the most damage. And you're like, I did all of that damage and I was running one mod short. Look at how good I am. And a part of me, like, that definitely, like, appeals to my elitism. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's the reality of it. It's kind of like, that would be kind of dope. I'm like, so we got stars, we got flowers, what else you got? Like, it left me thinking. I was like, stars and flowers. What else? I want to see what else you're working with. So I'm really, really curious to see how you guys feel about that. Are you guys just power players? Do you guys like the kind of flashiness of these mods? Do you think they're absolutely ridiculous in a bad way? Or do you think they're absolutely ridiculous in a good way? Because there is a part of me that feels like I could toss on an arcane to like fix that damage deficit. I'm good. You know? So, I don't know. I'm tempted to play around with them. Moving along with that, as I said earlier, one of the rewards is going to be Khora. And they actually went ahead and gave us a full glimpse at her kit. So basically we have Phase Lash, which is basically the same thing that it was before. It's just a whip crack in an AoE. There's no weird IPS functioning mechanic there. It's just an AoE whip crack, which I'm like, okay, whatever. They have, oh, and of course, it uses melee mods, so there you go. Any of the mods on your melee weapon will be transferred to the whip crack. Ensnare is something that we've seen before. Basically, it ensnares an enemy, and it'll slowly pull in other enemies, so it's a little bit tighter, and any enemies that are ensnared will receive bonus damage from Phase Lash. Moving on with that, we have Venari, so you can summon Venari, but in addition to that, you can actually change Venari's state. So you have aggressive, you have defensive, and you actually have a healing state in which Venari will actually run around and heal the other allies. Any low health allies will actually run around and go do that. So I think that's a really, really interesting thing. Now the last one is what Rebecca is referring to. I don't think they're going to leave it like this. I don't think they're going to leave the name as Strangle Dome. But she likes the name Strangle Dome, and that's what they refer to it as. But basically, it creates this dome-like structure, and it works with the terrain. So, you know, the dome is going to be, like, in different places. But it's like these chains that kind of protrude from the terrain, and it ensnares and captures any enemies in those domes. So anything that walks through. So think about Bastille, but in kind of like a large dome-like form. And so part of me is a little bit like, let's see how this works. And I guess enemies are going to be pulled to the different points that are there, where I'm going to have to take a closer look at it when she actually launches. But, you know, enemies that are pulled to those points will take bonus damage from Phase Lash. So a part of me is not 100% on Phase Dome. I really did wish that we had Exalted Whip. Like, Exalted Whip would have made me so happy. There were some kind of like leaked mock-ups and things from inside the game that show off like what the Phase Whip would have been like, and I thought that it looked really, really cool. But you know what, let's go ahead and play with this too and see exactly how this works out. If they seem to feel that this fits better, let's give it a shot, and then after it comes out and we hate it, we can complain then. I'm kidding. Let's be constructive. Now the last thing that I wanted to go ahead and touch on, and I thought that this was really, really interesting. So again, they were talking about Khora, and they were talking about how she was initially coupled with damage 2.5. I think, at least for now, it's official. So everybody out there with Hunter's Munitions, everybody who's panicking over their slash proc builds, everybody who's a little concerned about what's gonna happen with the different elements, y'all are probably safe for now. They made it very clear that damage 2.5 is currently out the window. It's not something that's being worked on. And if they were to work on damage 3.0. So that means that they're not even working on it now. That means that it's not even being touched. But if they were to work on damage 3.0, it would be a major overhaul. Like, they would just scrap everything and start from the beginning again. We'll figure it out. But legitimately, like, that's a little sigh of relief, because I was quite enjoying, you know, Avara's new augment with the crit explosion and Hunter's Munitions doing dirty things with it. You know, it's like, we gotta like enjoy what we enjoy sometimes. So all of the Bazzi users out there, rejoice, have fun. You know, everybody who's enjoying kind of using those things, definitely you are in the safety zone for now. But that about does it for this episode. I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about Exalted Whip being gone. I'm mourning, but you know, let's give the new thing a chance. But are you feeling the loss too, or are you all about this Strangle Dome? Moving along with that, how are you guys feeling about the peculiar mods? Because to be completely honest with you, There's a part of me that kind of really likes them. I know that I probably won't use them on everything, but a part of me is like, oh, but it would be kind of like flashing a little E-peen. And I can't hate that. Are you guys excited for Onslaught? Because Onslaught and Khora are set to ship next week. They've officially said it. You know, I mean, I got emails and we knew it was coming, but I'm just saying now I can officially let you know. And that about does it for me for now. As you can see, I'm getting phone alerts, so I'm probably gonna have to head out here. But as always, leave your feelings in the comments below. Oh, and one other thing that I forgot to mention, scythes. Why did I forget this? Scythes. They're considering tossing out scythe stances completely and just giving them greatsword stances. Put your feelings there too. Okay, and that about does it for me. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll chat with you guys next time. Bye-bye.